Tomasi. I'm guest introducing another guest here at the 21 Convention 2017. This is the 10-year anniversary, and I wanted to take the time to bring on the next speaker here. This is Hunter Drew, and he's a guy that I have been in contact with and just have sort of had a discourse and a relationship really with for the last about year and a half. And he was actually one of the inspirations for my third book, The Positive Masculinity, The Rational Male Positive Masculinity. And I just wanted to take time to bring this guy on because he's just a fantastic guy, and he really represents a side of the red pill that I think is really kind of underrepresented right now. And he has taken red pill principles, red pill awareness, and really turned it into a dialogue for the married man, for the family man. That's why he goes by the Family Alpha. His website is the Family Alpha. And without further ado, let's bring on Hunter Drew. I'm dead, kid.
Well, good morning, gentlemen. I am Hunter Drew. That's a very humbling introduction. I hope to rise up to the expectation that he set. So it's kind of a two-part speech I'm going to give you. It's going to be a little bit about me, and this is going to be a little bit about us. Now, some of you know me and my site, and most of you don't. So hopefully by the end of this, I'll plant a seed in your mind that maybe, give you a little different perspective than what you had before. So this is my first presentation ever. So hopefully I'm hoping to set that bar high. Nerves are running, but that's fine. I can feel my heartbeat in my teeth. It's fucking awesome. So, a little bit about myself. We're all coming from different areas in life. I met my wife in high school. She was my girlfriend. We did that thing. I was married at 21. I had my first kid at 22. I had my second kid at 25. Here I am at 30. I'm 30 years old. I've got an 8-year-old boy and a 5-year-old girl. And I'm standing in front of a bunch of motivated, masculine men who are living their own lives. And whether they're married, you have an LTR, you're single, you're a playboy, there's something that connects all of us. And that's something that I've been fighting for from the family side since the beginning. I couldn't relate to the pickup artist. I'm not here to talk to you about that. I had a girlfriend in high school, and then we got married after my first deployment. How can I talk to you about approaching a girl, in the club? That's not my skill set. A lot of you guys are here because you want to work with women. You want to be able to get what you want from women. I can help you with that because there are parts of men that is universal. We judge our men on merit. We shouldn't be judging them on their relationship status. What is a man doing? Whether a man is married, whether a man is spinning, he's got 5 girlfriends, whether he's got one, or whether he wants to be single to the grave. You can learn something from everybody. And that's what I'm trying to represent, that side of it today, is you need to see everybody brings something to the table. Everybody brings something you can learn from. Every single person I've met, I've learned something from them, and I'm a speaker. I'm supposed to be providing this great quality content, and I'm learning just as much as everybody else out here. And it's pretty fantastic. And everybody's different perspective makes you a more well-rounded individual. So, I've caught flack. I've been, hey, you're a cuck because you're married. Oh, okay, man. You're judging me because I'm married, so that makes me a loser. Let's go on and let me tell you the things I've done. I'm living an authentic life. I'm living the life I chose. We have fucking fantastic sex. I've been married for almost 10 years, and we're still fucking like porn stars. That doesn't just happen. And a lot of guys are like, how the fuck did you get to that point? I never made my wife, I never made a girl, I never made anybody else my mission. My mission was mine, and it's never changed. Now, I wasn't always this way. There were, like everybody else has come up, there were defining moments in my life. And we're gonna cover a few of them. And at the end of it, you'll kind of see the picture that made me who I am, and kind of help maybe apply that to improving yourself to who it is that you want to be. So we're going to cover the history to this stage. In high school, I was the nicest of nice guys. I would try to out-nice guy the nice guy. You wrote 2 love letters, I'd write 5. You want to talk about your feelings? Guess what? I'll cry. You know what? We'll talk. I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna be because that's what we're supposed to be. That's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to fit that narrative that was told to us. I've seen all the movies. You know who won? The guy who shared his feelings. The guy who always put himself last and put everybody else first. They won. I want to be that guy. I want to win. So I'm going to be super fucking nice. And I didn't really get, the perks that those heroes were getting. Now, I'm a very conflicted soul. I was also on the football team. I had a lot of manly friends, a lot of masculine shit that we were just going out, lifting weights, doing our thing. And that side of me is how I got my girlfriend. I saw a hot cheerleader. I was like, yo, what's up? You've got a huge ass. I fucking love it. And that's kind of how it started. She was gorgeous. And I was like, oh my God. And then we started dating. And again, I was still a nice guy, but I had these very, you call them alpha characteristics, alpha traits. I had those too. That was a part of me. I grew up, my father was a Navy man, so it was a very strict structure. Work ethic, you could not outwork me. I'm not the smartest guy in this room, and I don't have any problem saying that. I'm not. I don't have the highest IQ that's out there, but I will outwork any motherfucker in this room because I just don't stop. I am relentless when I want something. So I compensate for, I stand Ivan Throne earlier, and he's like fucking a giant. I look like a goddamn midget. But I'm bringing a presence, I'm expressing myself, I'm talking loud. And it's not to compensate, it's because I fucking believe in what I'm saying. Every word that's coming out of my mouth is authentic. There is no show. And that's something that's gonna be a running theme. That's the other part of this. You're learning about me now, but next you're gonna learn a little bit about yourself. So, also in high school, I was the genius on the 5-year plan. Guess what? Didn't have the highest IQ. Told you I'm a fucking idiot. I didn't give a shit. I had a lot of energy, but it was all going in the wrong direction. It wasn't going towards achieving any goals. It wasn't going towards making myself better. It was just going out into the fucking universe for free. And I was just giving it away. Then I decided to join the Navy because that's what my family does. From a very young age, I felt you serve the country that grants you your freedoms. It was never even a question. I knew what I was doing. So at 19 years old, I joined the Navy. And I would say that's when the red pill went down my fucking throat. That little shift in perspective, that minuscule, just changing your mindset and your perspective just that much changed my life forever. And forever. I'm forever indebted to the Navy because of what they did for me. I went to boot camp and they beat my ass and they just fucking told me like, you're not special. And guess what? If you keep acting like a nice guy, you're gonna fucking fail. You're gonna lose. We don't want nice guys. We want men. And I was like, what the fuck? And I look back, I was like, what? Where the fuck is this coming from? This is an entirely different narrative. Here's a story I hadn't heard yet. So they fixed my fucking mind. I had a successful 8-year career in the Navy. And like I said, forever indebted. They did everything they said they would do for me, and I gave them everything I had to give in that time. Now, during that time, my wife was still my girlfriend, and we were looking at marriage because I also always knew, just like joining the Navy, I wanted kids. I wanted a family. It was never a thought to me. I never thought of, being a pickup artist. I never thought of being a professional athlete. I wanted to be a dad. I had a huge family. And I wanted a son of my own, I wanted a daughter, that was my vision for my life. So that's what I made happen. So I had the girlfriend. And then before I married her, I said, you've got to go through a deployment. I was like, I'm not gonna be one of those fucking schmucks. And like I said, after boot camp, when I came home, I was an entirely different dude. She saw a different side of me that was never there before, and she's like, holy fuck. Like, of course she's gonna ride along with me because she saw what I was gonna become. She saw the authentic, expression of masculine energy that I was giving out to the world. So she latched on, and she was all about it. And like I said, our relationship, it's fantastic. A lot of guys have a lot of difficulties with their wives, and I'm not standing before you today as one of those men. I've made my marriage, I've made that relationship work throughout these years. And that's not to say, I can get divorce raped as easily as the next guy. I know what's there, but I also know how to maintain it. I also know that as long as I'm setting that bar that all other men will be measured to, I win. And if another dude comes in and swoops her, well, fuck, good on him, because that's a high fucking bar, so he's gotta be a fucking motivated individual. And she's a wife with fucking 2 kids. Who's picking her up? She's mine. Like, fuck. So, I deployed, came back, we got married, we had my son. And I knew it was gonna be a boy because I knew I wanted a boy. I was like, we're having a son. And it was like that. As soon as we wanted the kid, she got pregnant. Time goes on, I deployed again. I missed a lot of his life. I missed his first steps. And I'll share a story with you that punches me in the heart every time. I'm going on my second deployment, and I'm saying bye to the family. We're in New England. I had to fly down to Virginia, and then like the week later, I was gone. I was gone for like 6 or 7 months. I touched the door to leave. I've said bye to everybody. I've given the hugs and kisses. I've grabbed the door to walk out to the taxi, and my son says, Dada. He says his first word in his life as I'm leaving that fucking house. And I'm like, fuck. Come back, pick him up, give him a big-ass hug, and I'm like, God damn it. So I'm gone. I disappear for close to a year. And I'm fucking, first steps, those major milestones. My wife does the best she can do. She captures it for me. But there's nothing, as you're seeing today, when you remove that medium, the message is a lot more clear. When we're talking in person, when we're shaking hands, when we can sit and share a meal, that message of deliverance, of what it is that we're talking about, it hits you a little bit more. The vibrations given off are received a little bit stronger, and you understand a different aspect to it that you might not have understood if I had sent you an email, and fuck. Having that moment with him, it was fucking huge. And being away, having her capture those moments and send them to me, it wasn't quite the same. And I realized then, I was like, I can't do this. I was gonna be, retired with a pension at fucking 49. I was gonna just open a juice bar, a scuba dive shop, and fucking somewhere warm and just chill. But that changed when I grabbed that door handle and I heard his fucking word. And she sent me books. Hey, eating his first birthday cake. Hey, his first steps. These first doctor's appointments. These major milestones in my son's life I missed because I was dedicated to my mission. And I don't regret what I did. That was my mission. That was my calling in life, and I fulfilled it. My duty to my country, it goes country, then family. That's the order. That's how I felt. And it's like I said, I'm a conflicted soul. There's a part of me that wanted to be downrange. Like, I was in the military to deploy. I was not there to be home. That was not my purpose. That's not what I wanted to do. I had to be out there bringing the fight to the enemy. But then there's the dad, and there's a kid who shares my blood, who, when he cries for his dad, I'm not there. That fucking sucked. So I come back up to the second deployment, and I get shore duty. So that's 3 years where I don't have to deploy. During that time, we had my daughter, the most beautiful feminine thing in the world. I never thought I could love something so much. I love her so much more than my son. It's ridiculous. I'm just kidding. If he ever sees this, I'm just fucking kidding. Holy shit. If my kid ever needs to watch these videos, I fucked up. So I do my 3 years, and I'm like, it's time to go. I literally, when I walked out of the hallway, after telling my, Command Master Chief and my gunnery sergeant, I was with the Marines at that time, telling them that I was done, I walked past photos of myself. I was the instructor of the year and the sailor of the year. I was a shoo-in to make chief, which is a very high honor in the Navy. That's a big milestone on the enlisted side. And it was easy. I could have cakewalked to E8. But you don't do what's easy. You do what's right. So I did what was right. And what was right was for me to fill that role I decided to fill. If you don't want to be a father, don't be a fucking father. You don't have to do it because somebody else wants you to do it. There's no expectation that you reproduce. That's your decision to make. But if you do make it, commit yourself to it and do it right. Don't have children and leave them behind. They need you. They need that balance of masculine and feminine. Earlier, I don't remember who it was, but they were talking about, actually I think it was Richard Cooper, how you set the standard from which she's going to measure other men for your daughter. You set what a man is. You determine what masculinity is. You talk about daddy issues. There's multiple areas of daddy issues that girls can have. The dad who wasn't there, the dad who was there, but he didn't do his job. He was very apathetic and he let the wife berate him. And then you've got, the family alpha, which if I could go back, I would change the name. But you've got the man who's pursuing goals, living his life, but at the same time, he's making his children a part of that. My children are a part of my mission. They're not my mission. They're walking it with me, though. They're a part of it. It's a huge part of who I am. And that's what led to me creating my blog, is I did feel it was underrepresented. So I got out of the Navy. I started doing my thing. And when I got out, I realized I was living in a fucking bubble. In the military, you have to maintain certain physical standards. And the guys that I was with, they were top-tier dudes. We've got real motivated guys. We'd live together, we'd party together, our wives would get together, so all the men would go out and do some stupid shit and come back bloody and muddy and fucking nasty, and the wives would have cake and fucking shit ready for us to go. It was like out of a fucking story. It was a good fucking life. And I'm still in contact with all of those men today. They are, and I view them to be my brothers. And if they called me right now, I would leave this convention to go to them, because that's how important they are in my life. And this is incredibly important in my life as well. That's just how it goes. When I got out, a lot of dads are struggling. A lot of men are struggling. A lot of people are having a hard time finding their spot in life. They don't have that drive. They don't have that mission. They don't have that flame that's burning, and you can't put it out because you have to answer it or else it's going to fucking explode and destroy you. So you vent it out. If I didn't write, I would go insane. I have to get it out of my head. That's why I write. If a lot of writers would understand that. So I turned to Google. I was like, what the fuck is going on? Why the fuck are dads fat? What the fuck is a dad bod? Why is everything dad negative? Why is dad joke negative? Why is dad bod negative? Why is everything father negative? Why, when you watch TV, is everything about a father the fucking imbecile? Why is the Family Guy, why are people emulating Peter Griffin? Why are they emulating Homer Simpson? Why are these people saying that the father figure is a waste of fucking space and he's just a fucking joke? Who thought this was a good fucking idea? So I found the red pill and they answered my fucking question. So I joined Red Pill when it had 500 and something fucking guys. And now it has over 250,000 or something like that. That's fucking incredible. And that's fucking amazing, and it's fucking needed because there is a need for this. You don't have to relate to everything about the Red Pill. That's not what it's about. It's not about making the Red Pill your life. Red Pill is one aspect to masculinity. It's your sexual strategy. That's one aspect to it. You should use it. It does that job very well. It gets rid of the fucking, you find comfort in the discomfort of reality. It's not the easiest thing to know how women work, why women work. Fucking Rolo talking about hypergamy, that's a motherfucker. When that part of the pill dissolves and you're like, fuck, she left me because I wasn't better. That guy was better than me. That's why this happened. That sucks. Nobody likes to lose. I fucking hate losing. I'm too competitive. I've gotten into a fist fight over checkers because I was getting my ass kicked. Checkers. Now on deployment, testosterone levels are fucking high. So, you've got that going. But goddamn, nobody wants to lose. And when you finally realize you lost because you didn't try hard enough, that sucks. That sucks a lot. But it is what it is. You got to move forward. So from the Red Pill, I shifted gears when Married Red Pill was opened. Now, Married Red Pill is the Red Pill. It's kind of like, it's a branch off, but it's for the married man. It's different when you've got to reinvent yourself. You've got to come up with a strategy to game a woman who you've been with for possibly 2 decades. You've got to fix yourself in front of her eyes, and she's watching every brick you take out and every brick you put in. She's watching, always testing, always asking the questions, always looking for comfort, always wondering why. Why are you improving? What are you looking for? Are you better than me? Fuck, you've got to restructure your entire relationship and marriage in front of this woman's eyes and try to make it new and fresh. Like I said, I don't lack in sex. I don't lack in quality, quantity, frequency. It's fucking fantastic. I'm having a blast. How did that happen? It was always new. I never treated her like my wife. She is my wife. I love her to death. There's a reason that rings on her finger. But she's my lover. She is a woman. I don't view her as my wife. I did not get the girl. She is a woman, and I've got to treat her accordingly. Every day when my feet touch the floor, I start gaming her. I start flirting, escalating, teasing her. A different day, I might just fucking ghost her. Hey, I've got shit to do. We're not fucking hanging out. It keeps that there. If you're always available, she doesn't want you. She already has you. You gotta pull, you gotta push. There's a balance to marriage. There's a balance to all relationships. And that goes with men, women, whomever. You can't make yourself entirely received. They can't have absorbed all of you because then you're not interesting. You're boring. What the fuck she knows everything about you. But what if you take a little bit of that away? What if you start inventing a side of yourself individually? What if as 2 individuals, you are improving in yourself and you're also improving together? It's not all about, fuck the wife, I'm gonna go do my thing. No, she's a part of it. She's definitely a part of my life. She's a part of my mission. We do things together, but I'm also trying to develop myself. I'm going to shit like this. She obviously doesn't want me gone for a week, but she wasn't in the decision making. Anthony offered, and I said, fuck yes. Because this is my mission. This is my passion. This is why I write. It's why I do what I do. I fucking love it. And I'm really trying hard right now to put a governor on what it is I'm saying, because if you've ever seen a Periscope where I'm cruising to my Jeep, I'm just cruising the Jeep, I got my phone here and shooting out Periscope, which is much easier than what we're doing right now. Holy fuck. I can go on, and I start to lose myself to the emotion because I'm passionate. Somebody was talking about empathy the other day. It fucking sucks the pain men are feeling. Just because I'm not suffering doesn't mean I don't understand another man who is suffering. I have suffered in my life. I've taken my hits, and I can relate to that guy who's emailing me in the middle of the fucking night saying, hey man, she's gone. What do? I lost my purpose in life. There are nights I can't fucking sleep because I'm just shooting at shit with these guys. I can't tell you how many fucking emails I've had just yesterday because I didn't have my phone on me. It started building up. And these guys are talking about, hey, tell me their different story. I relate to it. I never tell them what to do. Every speaker you're gonna see up here, we cannot tell you what to do. If you're in a hole, if you feel that you're struggling, you're stuck in the mold that was built by everybody else and they forced you into it, we can't pull you out, but we can throw you a rope. By attending this, you're saying, I want out. You're saying, I'm not dead, I wanna fight back, and I'm not gonna fucking die in this goddamn hole. And every speaker here is saying, here's a fucking rope. You have to grab it. You've gotta fucking climb out, and it sucks. It's hard. Your muscles are gonna get tired while you're pulling out of that fucking hole, but you've gotta keep going. Because when you're at the top, fucking you're free. You're no longer trying to live according to somebody else's standard. You're not trying to live the life that they want you to live. You're not trying to be the guy you think people will like, but you're being yourself. That's what happens when you get out of the hole. And then from there, you make a decision. You throw a rope to somebody else, you write, blog, podcast, what a lot of the speakers here are doing, or you just go live your life, which a lot of men are doing as well. You don't really hear about the guys who are successful living their own lives because they don't need to go online and talk about it. They're just living life. There's an entire difference. But for a few, once you get out and you just see how great it is and you see how fucking happy you are and the joy that you feel, you can't help but want to give that to another. So you throw that fucking rope. You know, and I was brought on stage by Rolo. He heavily influenced my work. He helped me understand my wife better, which made my marriage better. By understanding women, you know what to do. You know why they're acting. When she's a total fucking douchebag to me, I'm just like, oh, you're just fucking like, you're just a chick. Like, I'm not taking this shit serious. You're not mad. Maybe you're frustrated right now. Ignore. Hey, you come back. Now I got a fucking sandwich in front of me. Like, what the fuck happened? I didn't feed into the bullshit, and then she responded. It's fucking ridiculous. So, like I said, the red pill and married red pill, that's not the entirety. You know, and I started writing posts on the subreddit that weren't received well because they weren't about sexual strategy. Guys are like, why the fuck are you sharing this? This is about fatherhood. Why are you sharing this? This is about how to, keep joy and, relationship in marriage. This is about sexual strategy. I was like, well, that's not what I want to talk about. I want to talk about masculinity. I want to talk about the entire man. We're at a conference right now talking about the ideal man. That's what the fuck I wanted to be a part of. The red pill is a part of that. It's not the entire picture. So, to stop getting blasted on fucking Reddit, I created my own blog. And I started writing, and I started talking. There's 3 parts to it. There's masculinity, which is a third of my content. There's marriage, that's the second third. And then there's fatherhood, because that's what makes me, me. And it goes in that order. I am a man before I am a brother, a son, a husband, a father. I am a man, an individual, masculine as fuck man. And I'm going to express that. And that's the first thing you are. I don't identify as a fucking father. I don't identify as a husband. I am those things. I make those things fantastic, and those are titles I wear with honor. I take pride in them. But they don't define the path I live. I live my path, my version of fatherhood, my version of being a husband. I make it mine, because that's what we all have to do. I live authentically, and that's what all this is about. Now, from the blog, I went onto Twitter, and I started this program called Men of March, and that was a fucking game changer. And I think that's the reason I'm here today. That shit was about, for 31 days, rebuilding yourself on the various aspects of manhood, of masculinity, of just being who you are, of authentic living. So in Men of March, guys fucking flooded. My followers like quadrupled. I went from like 1,000 to 3,000. Fucking all these guys are sharing it. The hashtag is fucking going around, and my inbox is blowing up. I went to bed at midnight. I was like, fuck, I gotta just go to sleep. I'm fucking tired. I checked all my notifications. I woke up at 5. I had 314 notifications of guys just saying, hey, I'm fucking on board. Let's fucking do this. We need to reinvent it. And I was like, what the fuck? There's a goddamn need for fixing yourself. Guys want to be a part of something, but not only a part of something, they want to be collectively a part of something. They want to fix themselves where a bunch of other dudes are fixing themselves at the same time. And it's a similar concept to boot camp. I couldn't complain about getting my ass kicked because the other fucking 50 dudes were getting their ass kicked too. It sucked for all of us. And Men of March, it sucked for every single one of us to objectively face those aspects where we might have been failing. Things about ourselves that we might not have thought about. When's the last time you thought about what's in your house? Did you buy that shit? Or every time you walk into your home and you sit down in your living room, are you seeing shit that you want there, or are you seeing shit that you were told to buy? Because that impacts you. That changes your mindset. Everything around you, your environment changes the way you think. So fix it. And that's just one aspect. We did 31 fucking days where you're asking questions like that. What's the thing you aren't facing? What's that one thing you're not avoiding? What's the one thing you don't want to handle? It could be in a relationship with your dad. It could be something that happened in your past. It could be something that you know is coming in your future. What are you avoiding? Because until you face that one thing, that fucking black monster inside your soul, you are not going to be able to build a foundation from which you can build the greatest self that you could possibly build. That's where you start, with fixing you. And the reason I shared my history and the reason I shared that aspect of me is because I wanted you to see who you were does not dictate who you become. I was a fucking loser in high school. I spent 5 years there because I was an idiot who was unmotivated. And then I turned it around. 2 days before I came here, I submitted my master's thesis. That shit was fucking no joke. I fucking hated school, but I forced myself to go. Who you were, the shit you've done does not dictate where you go. As long as you're looking in the past, you're not looking forward. As long as if you're looking forward, you're not looking now. Fuck what happened. Completely fucking disregard. Get rid of who you were, who you keep identifying as, who you keep defining yourself as. I'm the guy who had this happen to him. No, the fuck you're not. You're a man. Well, I had to go through this because we didn't have money. I had a broken family. That's fantastic. I don't care. Neither does the world. Fix yourself. Don't identify with your past. Who you were doesn't dictate who you become. All right? And I'm telling you, I almost dropped out of fucking high school. And then I fucking found myself fucking going for my master's. Like, what the fuck? Life comes at you fast. And that gets me into the topic. Authenticity. That was a long intro. So this speech is about authenticity. All right, Ryan touched on frame. To me, there he is. Frame is reality. Everything comes from frame. In my world, married men have plenty of sex. They're happy. They're filled with joy. They lead their sons. They fucking motivate, and they lead their daughters. That's my reality, and you're never going to break my frame because it's mine. And I'm never going to enter yours because it's not as good as mine. And that's how every single one of you should feel. You don't want to fucking become Hunter Drew. You don't want to become, Ryan, Ivan, Rolo. You don't become us. You don't want to be like that. And that's what links all of the speakers. Why does Anthony have all of us here? Because we're all authentic. We all are walking what the fuck we talk. We are living the message that we are putting out. I could have come up here as an Indian chick named Brenda who was 300 pounds. Nobody ever saw me. I was behind the screen. But he read it. Anthony could see it in the message. This dude is living what the fuck he says. For years, I have not changed my tone. And they related to that. Like, oh shit, somebody who's pure. Somebody who actually gives a fuck and is no longer following the expectations of society. They're no longer following or allowing influence from others to dictate what they do with their life. Creating the ideal man is creating a man who lives and behaves genuinely. Every action you take should come from genuine nature. Every single action you take, from what the fuck you're wearing to what you're doing, the profession you have, it should come from an area that is genuinely you, from your soul. It has your spin on it. It is not influenced by others. It is not influenced by what mass media says you should be doing. It is not influenced by what your family thinks you should do. It is not influenced by anybody. It is yours. And until you start living like that, you are not the ideal man. It goes back to putting the governor. I'm trying to chill. All right. And then here comes the cold water for most. A lot in this room. Your life and who you are right now is the biggest covert contract you've ever written. Everything you are, when you say me, that person you're identifying as, that person you're expressing, that's not you. That's somebody you built because you thought somebody else would like it. That's somebody you said, I'm going to be that person because then I'm going to win. Because that's what you do. You get married, you have kids, you do. It says who? You define who you are. So when you have somebody saying, hey, I am, what do you mean by I? The I that's you, that raw masculine energy inside that wants to follow your passion? Is that who you're talking about? Or are you talking about the guy who plays it safe, makes the right decisions because that's what everybody else says you should do at whatever stage you're at in your life? There's a big difference between the two. You need to make sure that you're identifying with the right one. And it's something I want you to do, and I'll touch again on this, but I mean this in the literal sense. You're listening to me right now. You have an opportunity right now to just stop fucking around and start living a genuine life. I don't mean that in some hoorah, let's get all jacked up and let's go work out. I mean it in the literal sense. You can change your fucking life after this convention if you choose to. You can change everything. You can become who you want to be after this. That's why you're here. All the time you've spent watching, listening, talking, recording, tweeting, doing all that shit, all the money you've spent to get here, to sleep here, to stay here, to join this, to get your ticket, what is it for? It's for you to fix something. There's something that you're trying to fix. You're in a hole and you're trying to get out. And I'm throwing you a fucking rope and I'm telling you, climb. Get out of the fucking hole. You have to change what you were doing if you want different results. What do you want? Go out and do that. Fuck. So how do you find that authentic self? What steps do you take? The first step is removing the unessential. Removing the things that don't fucking matter. If you want to fix you, you've got to get rid of the bullshit that's stuck inside your head. Every day you've got it in your head that I'm supposed to say this, I'm supposed to do that, and I'm supposed to. You're not supposed to do a fucking thing. Do whatever the fuck you want. And I'm not, my don't eat paint disclaimer, I'm not saying go rob a fucking bank. Let's use some common sense. You're men, and I'm talking to you as men. I'm not saying guys, I'm not saying bros, I'm saying men, because every single one of you is an individual fucking ball of masculine fucking energy that's ready to punch the world in the goddamn mouth, but you're holding it back. Let that fucking fist out. Fucking just go for it. What do you have to lose? What do you have to lose by living a life that is genuine? What do you have to lose by living according to your terms instead of everybody else's? When I see dad bod, when I see this shit, I've got the red pill lens on, and I'm so fucking frustrated because that's not my reality. I live in a society that I want to disregard all their bullshit because it doesn't relate to what I'm trying to live. Your dad should be motivated. They should be fit. You should be a fit father, not a fucking dad bod. You should be an individual who's setting an example for others. You start by getting rid of the bullshit, the lies you tell yourself and the fluff that you use to justify your mediocre performance. I'm holding up a mirror now. You've got to do better. You've got to get rid of what the fuck everybody else wants you to do, and you've got to start doing what you want to do, whatever that is. And it's difficult because that means you have to objectively tell yourself, I've been failing up to this point. I have not been trying hard enough. The second step is embracing your sexuality. I think it was Rollo, or maybe Socrates, that we are fucking horny 24/7. We are like ready to go. I'm fucking horny right now. This is the longest I've gone without sex. I'm telling you. I think this week will be the longest I've gone without sex since deployment. Since I got fucking underway in the goddamn Navy. It's fucking, like, I'm ready to rip a phone book in half. But, like, you have to embrace it. That's a part of your nature as a man. You know, some guys are like, they're afraid to tell a girl, like, I want to fuck. Like I don't want to hold your hand. I don't want to just sit here and chit-chat about your fucking feelings. I'm horny as shit. Like, let's go. And if you're not the girl who wants to do that, you're not for me, because, like, there are other girls. You know, there's many fish in this fucking sea, and that girl is not your mission. She's a part of it. If you get rid of her, it doesn't change your mission. So fucking if you're with somebody who is not meeting you sexually, she is depriving a major part of who you are, and you should reevaluate, is that the girl for you that would do that? You should also evaluate, are you the kind of guy who deserves that from her? Some men deserve sex more than others. Some men try harder than others. This is life. Not everybody's a fucking winner. You can be. You're being given all the tools to be a fucking winner, but you've got to apply them. You know, my slogan is acta non verba, which is deeds, not words, which doesn't make sense because I've written a million of words trying to cause action. But it's what you do, not what you say. What are you doing in your life? That's fantastic. You know, they were talking about, hey, my New Year's resolution, I'm going to do this. You said something, you got that hit of dopamine, but you didn't do anything. So it's not going to fulfill that need you have, because that need is going to come from action, lifting the weights, talking to the girls, and like I said, expressing that sexual nature that you have. It's okay to embrace who you are, but too many are just numbing themselves. Cuckoldry, that is what porn is. Every time you watch porn, you are a cuck. Why? Because you're not the guy fucking that girl. You're the guy beating your dick aggressively while watching another man fuck a beautiful woman. She's amplified. She's not real. She's fake as fuck. She's got huge tits, a fat ass, giant lips, perfect skin. Fantastic. Fucking Abella Anderson, I'm a huge fan. But she's not real. She's a fucking amplified, you know, sex toy. And some other guy is fucking her while you sit behind a screen in the corner somewhere beating your dick. What do you think that's doing to you mentally? You know, you're numbing yourself. You know, Rollo has a post where he says, you know, don't rub one out before you go on a date. You know, guys are like, oh, I'm going to rub one out, and then I'll be nice and relaxed. A fucking woman doesn't want a relaxed man. She wants a fucking motivated man who was going to fucking take her. There's too many relaxed men out there. You guys are putting governors on your own expression of energy. When I talk about masculine energy, I'm talking about the no shit, that limitless reserve that we have. You know, when you look at men who are finding comfort in this discomfort, you know, embracing the suck, if you will, we're happy as fuck when we're crawling in the mud, tired, broken, but we keep on going because there's a fucking fire inside us that just does not go out. It doesn't. You keep pushing. You know, I'm fucking tired right now, but I'm going to keep going. I'm motivated as fuck right now just talking to you guys, and it just fuels me. But every time you sit and you jerk off, you're like, all right, now I'm relaxed. Why are you fucking relaxed? What do you need to be relaxed from? Now, porn has its place. Again, I've deployed twice. I fully appreciate porn, but that isn't every day. You know, you can go a week, and if you can't, and when I did that 31 days, or when I did Men of March, which became 31 Days to Masculinity, a part of it, and the biggest killer of men, was you can't jerk off. There's no porn. You can have sex with a woman, totally fine, but you cannot jerk off. Well, I'm so frustrated, I'm going to get in a fight. Channel it. Use it to go find a woman. Use that frustration as energy, as fuel. Don't make it an anchor. That's fuel for growth, not an anchor to hold you back. Some guys don't know what it's like to be sexually aroused. Some guys don't wake up with morning wood anymore because they're fucking so frequently beating their cock that they're just losing all energy, and they just never rise, literally, to the occasion. Why? Why are we trying to be comfortable? Why are we trying to relax? Because it's difficult to talk to a girl? You'd overcome that if you were horny. Because it's easier, you don't face rejection. You're absolutely right. You know, I was talking to last night with Tanner and Christian McQueen. They were talking about how certain programs do well and others aren't doing as well, and they're wondering why. And it dawned on me that the programs that don't put you out in the world where you might be rejected by another or be seen being rejected by another is much more difficult to follow than one where you can just, you download the program, and you know what, if you don't do the program, you don't start your business, nobody knows. So the ones that are putting men out there where they could fail, they're not joining anymore because they're getting weaker. They can't face it. You know, the guys who I can't talk to a girl. I guarantee If you go 4 days, 5 days, you can talk to fucking anybody. You don't give a fuck if she's a 2, a 10, a 6, a bush. You don't give a fuck. It doesn't, at that point, you're really just gonna freely express yourself. So instead of trying to limit ourselves, we need to express ourselves and embrace that aspect of who we are as men. And that brings me to the last segment of finding your authentic self, is that masculine energy that I keep talking about. Those vibrations you give off. I'm giving it off right now. And it's just, when's the last time you talked to somebody who had passion in what they were saying? When is the last time you've heard somebody have passion in their voice to the point where they're fucking running out of breath because they can't stop talking about it? This isn't a show. I give a fuck. I'm passionate about this, and this is why I talk about it. This is why I talk the way I do. This is why I present myself the way I do. This is why, even though I'm a fucking midget compared to Ivan, I can make my presence much more. I'm just going to spit over the carpet. Too few care. And then when somebody does care and they talk like this, you're like, oh, the fuck's that guy's deal? What's he on? Look at that fucking asshole. Why? Because he cares about something? Because you're numb? You don't know what it's like to give a shit? A lot of guys flash anger. They can get mad real easy. It's easy to show anger. It's hard to show passion. It's hard to look other men in the eyes and talk about something you believe in so forcefully and not express that part of you. Now, for most, they don't even know what they're passionate about. You've got a lot of energy. You've got a lot of good ideas. You guys are probably all way smarter than I am, and you can achieve a lot of things that I can't achieve, but you're not. And I'm going to achieve it, not because I'm smarter than you, not because my idea is better than yours. It isn't. But because I'm doing something. I'm choosing to do. I'm not going to talk about it. I'm not numbing myself. I'm not limiting myself. Now, how do you do this in a relationship? This is where the family alpha takes off. This is why I'm here. This is why my blog exists and is doing well. Because there are a lot of guys who have to reinvent themselves under the eyes of their woman. A divorced man has a lot of free time when he does not have his kids. He is alone. He can pursue his mission. He doesn't have to worry about it. When he has his kids, he can dedicate that time. The single man can reinvent. He can have a girlfriend. They do their fucking thing. He's like, you know what? I'm a fucking pussy. I got to fucking improve. I need to get better. I'm not as good as I want to be. So he does. Then he dumps her. The next girl, what does she think? He's always been like this. This guy's always been this motivated guy. He didn't just fix himself last month. He's always been like this. But the married man, the man in the LTR, he's got to do it under the fucking warden's eyes. He's got to dig that tunnel out of that fucking mold that everybody built around him while they're watching. It can be done. As long as you have that limitless reserve I call it irrational confidence. If you guys were all going to fight me right now, I still think I have a chance. I'm irrationally confident in what I'm doing. I'll lose. I'll get my fucking ass kicked. But I think I'll go down swinging and I'll go down winning in my head. Because if you give everything you have to something, even if you lose, what the fuck else could you have done? You gave your best to something. In your marriage, if you want to fix yourself and you don't think it's right, you don't fix yourself for her. Let's put it that way. You're fixing yourself for you. And if you're fixing yourself for anybody besides yourself, it's not going to work. If you're fixing yourself to get more sex from your wife, it's not going to work. You've got to fix yourself because you're not happy and you're not content with where you're at in your life right now. You're not content. There's a void in your heart. You're inside a hole. You're inside a mold. You know something's not right, but you don't know what it is, and you're trying to figure that out. So you start taking action. You do start lifting. You don't have to fucking totally ghost her. Hey, babe, going to the gym. Why? Because I'm fat. All right, see you later. Go. Like, there's no discussion. She's not the governor, she's not the deciding factor on what it is you choose to do. So fix yourself in front of her eyes. Make those changes and start slowly. You don't have to fucking flip the table over. Just start changing piece by piece. You've got one brick that is intentionally placed after you take out that brick of bullshit. That one brick could be eating better. You're going to take out your snacking, put in the good one. Take out a brick of always watching Netflix at night, start writing a book, if that's what you're into. Take out that fucking brick by brick by brick by brick, whatever the fuck it is that makes you the new you. That's your new foundation of self. You used to be living in this little fucking shack inside a mold, and you're building a fucking castle of your masculine empire on top of that foundation. And it's strong because you have placed every single brick with surgical precision. Each one is right where it needs to be, and that's going to support you. That's going to support every endeavor you have from that point, and you cannot fail. Because if that castle is attacked, the queen leaves, it doesn't fucking matter. You're still king of that domain. And that domain is yourself. That sense of self, that expression of self. You can do that right in front of a woman. And she'll love you for it. She will nag, and then fuck your brains out. How the fuck did you jump that gap? because you fucking turned her on. Because a man who leads, a man who follows his mission, that's attractive to a woman. And you're capable of doing that right now. And it's not just about getting women. You'll be happy. When's the last time you sat there and you're like, man, I'm happy as fuck. Like, I'm truly, genuinely filled with joy right now. Because that's what I feel in front of everybody. Like, I'm nervous, a little less so now, but I'm fucking happy to be doing this. Everybody should feel that. And it's not about fucking kumbaya, let's hold hands and sing, oh, life is great. Life fucking sucks sometimes. But you can embrace the suck. You can smile, you can laugh, you can be happy throughout all of it. You know, I call it smiling in the rubble. A man can fucking have the world falling around him and have the biggest smile on his face because the sun's out. There's a fucking breeze. He doesn't give a fuck. What does it matter? What do you get by continuing to hate yourself? What do you get by continuing to repress yourself? What do you gain at all by choosing to take that easy path of what you thought was right? Not a fucking thing. You get another year, another day, another hour lost. You're closer to death. Tomorrow isn't guaranteed. Also, this is why vetting is so important and is so underutilized. You can make your life significantly, I can't even give you the proper term in the English language, but amplified massively easier by getting the right girl. When I was vetting my wife, and things have changed since I vetted my wife. I was talking about this, there was no Tinder. There was no fucking, you weren't really having videos online. Like, we started dating in 2003. You didn't have to worry about that shit. You know, fuck. I'm glad, and I'm sorry for you guys, but hey, work with what you've got. But when I was vetting her, one of the biggest things was her relationship with her father. She was the kind of girl who wanted to make dad happy. I supplanted dad. She always wants to please me now. If I tell her I'm proud, holy fucking shit. When's the last time you told your wife you were proud of her? Your kids? Yourself? Anybody? Why do we just assume people know these things? If you feel something, say it. Because you're authentic. You're genuine. When you live a genuine life and you don't say things because you want something, I don't say, hey babe, I'm proud of you because I want sex. That's not gonna get me sex. I say it because I feel it. When you can start feeling again, when you stop being numb, you can start sharing that feeling with others. And guess what? It sets an example for them to measure themselves. It takes the chains off of them. Like, hey, if he can do this, I can do this. And then now you've allowed another man to take the chains off, to live authentically. I have 2 kids. A part of this, and one of the strongest, passionate things I have when I talk about my kids is that I allow them to live their lives. My son is a masculine powerhouse. My daughter is a fucking like feminine little beauty, the most innocent thing in the goddamn world. That doesn't just happen. You know, a recent story I shared, I walked outside, and my daughter is sitting in the driveway with chalk. She's drawing a fucking house and a flower, because she's a fucking little girl, and that's what they do. And my son comes running by, wearing headphones, jamming to a fucking iPod. I'm like, what are you doing? I'm training. What the fuck are you training for? He's fucking training. He's out there getting it, and that has nothing to do with me. He's expressing that pure masculine energy where he is preparing for something because that's what men do. You allow your sons, you allow the next generation, you allow others to freely express themselves and be who they should be instead of who others think they want to be by doing it yourself. You set the standard from which excellence is measured. You set the standard which is free from any influence outside of who you are and what it is you want to share. Like I said, my children are a part of my life, a huge part of my life, but they are not my life. My wife is a huge part of my life, but she is not my life. And you should apply that in your own. Your job may be a part of your life, but it is not your life. If your job is fucking killing you, get a new fucking job. You're not stuck. Stop sticking to the safeness. I'm not saying go out and start a business. Find a new fucking job. Apply. Maybe move somewhere they haven't lived before. But take some action, or else you're going to keep dying day by day by day. And then what are you going to show for it? A sad you? You that you come to the next convention and you haven't learned anything? You haven't done anything? Every time, when you're attending this now, you should have so many fucking notes in your head. You should have so many different perspectives. You might not relate to anything I fucking say. You might think this guy's a fucking retard, and I don't know why the fuck they brought him. I don't give a fuck. You learned what not to do. You can take something away from it, all right? And if there's just a seed planted, maybe a little different perspective on life. You know, I'm not telling you the same thing everybody else is telling you. They're telling you how things work. I'm telling you why you need to approach everything. You know, he's talking about building a boat. Don't build a fast boat because you think it's going to get you bitches. Build a fast boat because you want a fast boat. Don't build anything. Don't build an empire to impress another. Build what you want to build. And if what you want to build is a fucking shack, build that shack. You don't have to impress me. You don't have to impress any other man in this fucking room. You have to just be comfortable with you and who you genuinely are. Moving forward, I want you guys to remember this quote. Your children, your wife, people, they will rise to the standard you accept, not the one you expect. They're only going to try as hard as they have to. They're also going to follow your example, not your advice. If you tell them all day, you should read books, you should eat right, you should lift, you should be genuine. But your fat ass is sitting down watching fucking Netflix every fucking night, eating Doritos. What do you think your kids are going to do? They're watching you. They're always watching. Your girl, always watching. They're following your example. They're not going to follow your advice. Those words don't mean shit. If you don't live your own message, if you don't believe in what it is that you're saying, why the fuck would they? Nobody's going to believe in you if you don't believe in you. Nobody's going to follow your guidance, your standard, if you're not living that same guidance and standard. What kills me is the amount of fathers and husbands who are just setting the poorest example for their children. My kids, like I said, they're 8 and 5. They're very young. I've got a lot to learn. They're still growing, but it's beautiful to watch them grow. And I'm fighting as hard as I can against outside influences. And I'm improving their friends as well. Their friends come over, and all of a sudden we're talking about lifting weights. My daughter's friends come over. Hey, they're not sitting in front of a tablet. We don't have tablet toddlers. We've got kids who are fucking like little artists. We give them paint. Go out and do something. The sun's out, you're out. Go play. And guess what? I'm not sitting my fucking ass in the house when that's happening. I come home from work, dead tired. I've got an hour commute. So that's an hour there. I work my job. My job's pretty legit. The commute sucks, working on that. Hour back, tired as fuck. Get out, and every fucking day, my son, hey, can we go play catch? Hey, can you pitch to me? My daughter, hey, can we go on the fucking swing set? Yeah, we can do that. And I do it every fucking day because that's what they need in their life. You don't have to be 100% accessible all the fucking time, but you've got to make an effort. You've got to give them the time and attention they deserve because you brought them into this world. You made them your responsibility. Whether you wanted to or not, you've got a fucking job to fill. And if you aren't going to fill it, we're going to perpetuate the cycle. It's like the poverty cycle, except obesity, except lack of being able to read a book. My kids don't get to play on tablets. They get to read books. It strengthens their mind. Mental and physical fitness. You've got to give the mind and body and spirit are all interrelated. You've got to train all of it. You've got to make yourself better than what you were. And there are too many wives out there who are underfucked and overcritical. Sometimes you just got to fuck that chick's brains out. Just give her a hard fucking and just we're not going back. Just fucking lay it down like a fucking caveman and just that's the starting point. From there on, you're like, we're not doing this shit anymore. We're not doing the fucking starfish missionary. We're going fucking outside. We're fucking going somewhere. We're going in the shower. My fucking go-to recently has been fucking popping a bunch of glow sticks, throwing them in the shower, and then bam, that's it. It's like a fucking rave. It's fantastic. If you do it and it works, let me know. I was talking to somebody. I can't find him in the crowd right now. I wanted to give him credit. But basically he said, if we don't do this, if we don't start making a change, who will? I'll leave you with that. That's all I have.